Hey, CMAX here. Going to do a review on the Mosin Nagant M44. Now, this is a clone. This is the Chinese Type 53, but it's the same gun. This carbine was developed because they needed a support weapon for rear echelon military situations. Apparently, there was some problems. The Germans got in the back on them and pretty much caught them with their pants down a lot of times, so to speak. So that was the reason that this was developed. But they didn't get it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this rifle, but they really didn't get it right for what it was intended to be. For one thing, this actually weighs more than the full-size 9130 by 0.2 pounds. This rifle weighs 9 pounds. The 9130 is 8.8, according to the data that I read. I haven't weighed anything. And a 9-pound carbine kind of defeats the whole purpose of a support weapon. Counter with our M1 carbine. It's very light, it's very maneuverable, easy to deploy. It works well for support troops. So they really didn't get the design of this right. It's a heavy, very robust rifle. You know, there's some finish type issues based on stuff what we're used to, but all in all, it's a very solid. It's very heavy, and it kicks a good bit, to be quite frank. Very snappy, if you will. Now, these were made from, and you'll see this throughout the Communist Doctrine, Type 53. This started produced in China in 1953. Went through early 60s. They've got Vietnam ones that say 61 or whatever. Nobody really knows for sure throughout the whole production. Now the M44, the Russian built, they actually made those from 1943 to 48. So from 48 to 53, they really weren't producing either one of those two rifles. And what it was the communists needed a weapon. Their big brother, communists in Russia, the Chinese needed weapons. So the Russians gave them machinery and plans for the M44. I think even sitting down a bunch of advisors. But it's funny because they would not give them the technology for the SKS. So yeah, they're good buddies, but they're not that good. And then it's funny because the Chinese did the same thing with the 53. They got the SKS, and then their rogue whatever countries, Albania and this and that, they shipped these out but wouldn't give the SKS either. So that, I thought that was kind of funny. Let's go through a few specs on it. Let's see here. Not a lot out. Weighs 9 pounds. It's 39.9 inches long. Has a 20.2 inch barrel. You know, that's about it on the specs. So just not a lot. It's a bolt action. It shoots a 7.62 by 54 round. We'll get into that into a second. It has a 5-round internal magazine, which means the magazine is encased inside the rifle and is not detachable. Rear bladed sight, front hooded sight, has a rear spike bayonet. Now, based on some of the stuff that I have read, the side bayonet was a real failure on this rifle as well. So there's some strikes against this particular design of rifle. That the point of aim would change from the bayonet being in the closed position or in the out and lock position. That kind of freaks me out that the point of aim changes, and supposedly from some of the stuff I read can be quite significant. Reason for the bayonet, you know, line them up and tell them to charge, you know, kind of the bonsai mentality of that seemed to be pretty common in the communist Cold War communist countries. Okay, So we've got the 7.6. Let me get a shot. Okay, so we've got the 7.62 by 54 cartridge. And it's basically about the same size as a 308. That's a 308 hunting round. So you can see it's basically about the same. Now the ballistics between the two here, I did grab some numbers real quick based on ballistics101.com. 7.62 by 54. Now, interesting on this, the weight of the bullet varied greatly from 123 grains, which is lighter than my 9mm bullet that I shoot, up to a 203, which is close to the 45 caliber bullet for a 45 ACP. And the velocities between those two weights varied 1,000 feet per second. So like on the 123 or the 9mm bullet weight, it zipped along at a pretty brisk 3325. Now with the 203 grain, it slowed it down 1,000 feet per second to 2330. So lots of variation there. It's quite interesting to see that. So on the 308, you're looking at about anywhere from 26 to 2900. So basically a little bit slower, I would say, based on equal weight bullets. This is the 30-06, Springfield 30-06. So 308, the 7.62 by 54, and the 30-06. Now 30-06, you're looking at between about 27 to 3,000 feet per second, so just a little bit faster than the 308. But the 308 and the 30-06, the ballistics have always been very close. This actually replaced this as a battle weapon caliber due to the size, improvement in propellant and powder and stuff. So they were able to get basically the same ballistics in a smaller cartridge so they could carry more ammo. And since we're going to talk about the 7.62 by 54, I thought I would pull out the old 7.62 by 39, or the AK-47 SKS standard round, or what me and my buddies used to call the commie round, just because Vietnam basically. Now on the 7.62 by 39, you get anywhere between 2,300 and 2,500 feet per second on this. So you can just kind of see the difference in the velocities and whatnot. But that is the round for this particular rifle. These rifles I acquired back when there was cases and cases and cases of them at the gun shops. I paid $59, $69, and $79 for the various Nagants and clones. Like I said, this one is one made in China. And I thought, it's kind of beat up and pretty rough. It does not have a matching, everything matches but the bolt on the gun. This top forearm looks kind of rough, but it may just be a finishing issue. And I was looking at it. It's got some pre-cosmolined hits, but I mean, not terrible. It is missing the cleaning rod here, but I mean, it's not in bad shape. Now, this little button here, you push it back, boom, you can eject your ammunition through the bottom. So if you want to unload it real quick, kind of like that, that's pretty cool. I'll do another video on how to disassemble this. It comes apart pretty darn easy, a lot easier than you'd think, and we'll do one on it. But I got to looking on what do these things sell for. Now these pictures here are listed on GunBroker, and that's as of middle of November 2015, from anywhere from $199 to $240. And I actually saw some that were in worse case than these. Ridiculous condition on them. This thing, in comparison to what I saw on GunBroker, even with the discoloration here and the little impact and discoloration here. This rifle's in so much better shape than any of those, it's not even funny. Now the bore on it is a little dark, and I'm working on that as well as the 9130. I will get that bore shiny again. But it's a little dark, but it's coming along nicely. But so I'm not sure what this gun would be worth based on their standards, but it's in much better shape. All right, at this point, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let's go get the M44. Okay, and here's the M44. This one, and you can tell by the 02 here and the 02 here. This one was made in 1953, and it is basically the exact same gun, except this one was made in Hungary. But this one is an M44, side lock, everything the same. You know, a little bit of finishing difference. But this rifle is in very good shape. The bore on it is shiny. Blew me away when I looked through it. But it is very shiny, very nice. Now, even that's really good. You know, and I looked these up, there again, rough comparisons. And these guns were going for almost $500, $495. At least that's what they were asking. So I was surprised to see that. You know, that's even at 200 or 200 and 250 or 240 for $60 gun. That's a pretty good return. All right. Okay. Well, put it in this gun vise because it'll hold the rifle better for the trigger test. But one thing we didn't talk about was safety on it. It really doesn't have the safety. It kind of has this bolt block to where you pull back on the bolt, turn to the left, it locks it over here, the slot, now it's ready to go. That's really the only safety that it's got. So I wanted to talk about that.